Hey guys, it's Ash. Thanks for clicking on this video. The past couple videos that I've put up are all Facebook Live videos from travel delays. The reason I used Facebook Live was to keep in touch with friends and family and just to obviously let everybody know in time what was going on. But if you can tell, probably not just because I'm inside, or if you've been actually, no, I haven't really talked about this. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have guessed. Sorry, this is weird. It's not weird. I'm being weird. Just say it. I'm back in Michigan. And second of all, which should have been first of all, Shana Tova. I hope the Chagim were wonderful for you, that you had a sweet beginning to the new year with Rosh Hashanah, that you found solace and were able to power through Yom Kippur. I hope you were able to get close, not only to friends and family, but to Hashem during Sukkot, and that you found new appreciation for the Torah during Shemini Atzeret Simchat Torah. But in light of posting all of the Facebook Live videos from my traveling, now is the appropriate time to share that I was coming back to Michigan. And this was not an easy decision to make. It is one that I made with my rabbi and rabbinite and with my parents. And the reason being that it got to a point, my being in San Diego, I was on the verge of homelessness. And for the past month in San Diego, even through the holidays, and being surrounded by gracious people who hosted me for meals, who let me stay with them from time to time, and some other friends outside of the Jewish community that I was a part of in San Diego. I just didn't make the cut. Today is Thursday, October 4th. And I landed in San Diego Sunday, February 4th. So I was pretty much in San Diego for 8 months. And since I graduated from Spring Arbor, 8 months is the longest time. Okay, so we'll put the wedding. We'll say before the wedding, because I'm counting going on extended trips and stuff. Just feeling that need to get up and move. Well, then I guess you could count Tijuana. I went to Tijuana for a Shabbat after Pesach. But living in San Diego, being in San Diego for 7 or 8 months, however you want to look at it, it's the longest time I've been in one place since graduating 3.5 years ago. I was either constantly going on trips with friends, moving houses, and then brain fart, went to Guatemala, went to Peru, came back here, went to San Diego, came back here, and then went back to San Diego. And it just needs stability. And when you say stability, especially for millennials and other people who are similar to me, either in age range or philosophy or worldview and perspective, as someone who doesn't consider themselves strictly an American, I consider myself a citizen of the world. When you say stability, it's kind of scary, because There's nothing wrong with the white picket fence. Why did I say fence? I don't know why I said it like that. White picket fence, like atypical American dream scenario. But because that's what baby boomers and some members of Generation X still expect from Gen Y and iGen, we're rebelling against that a little bit. And I actually think that iGen, or Generation Z, which is the generation after mine, actually is more accepting and open to like the American dream again, because they're seeing that millennial struggle, and there's a stereotype about millennials, and it comes from somewhere. It's not completely false. The biggest problem that we have is trying to, and it's not bad, we have like a save the world complex. And because there are so many issues, and because people want to help, they don't hone in on, we're afraid to pick one thing because we don't want to be stereotyped, we don't want to be put into a box. Unfortunately, that leaves a lot of people lost and confused, and I've been one of them. Fortunately, I've been able to figure things out. And the biggest reason, aside from, financial stability, and I'm 26, I have to pay for my own health insurance. I haven't done that since July, so who knows what my taxes are going to look like when I file in the spring. Not that I really have much to file for. Growing up isn't a bad thing. And I'm probably going to end up going back to school. Not probably, I do. I'm going to go back to school for nursing. And it took me spending 8 months in San Diego, the majority of those 8 months in San Diego, to rediscover myself and take time, like not working, like just take a break from working and school. And I'm fortunate to have been able to do that. I had little jobs here and there. Back in the spring when Apple had the battery issues, I got recruited through a temp agency to do battery repairs for 6 weeks, which I found out I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed taking apart the phones and like removing the Taptic engine and the motherboard. I actually even did a few cameras before I left, and it was fun. I did a 1-month caregiving stint in Encinitas for a Russian woman. The issue with that was that it was Monday noon to Friday at noon, and even though it's only 48 hours, like with getting up to Encinitas Monday and then Friday afternoon, it was like I didn't have a Monday morning or a Friday afternoon really to do anything before Shabbat. So my whole week was taken up, and the job was 24 hours. It was living, and I didn't have to pay rent. So there's that to consider. But my take home was $320. And somebody who works a minimum wage job, 40 hours a week, after taxes takes home about $365. And even though I didn't have to pay rent Monday through Friday, like that $280 just wasn't enough. And I didn't have a life. So I said, hey, I need $500 a month in order for this to be worth my time. And I started getting depressed. So I said, you've got the rest of the month to find somebody else. And I did. I gave them, 2.5 more weeks. And then I held my ground and left. Which was not a financial, like the best financial decision, but it was a mental and emotional decision that I had to make. Which Normally, I wouldn't. In my past, I would have always, like, before I left for San Diego, the week before I left, I worked 78 hours that week, like pulling doubles almost every day. And I finally realized that my time is worth more than what almost any job can pay me. Does it mean that I'm never going to stay long hours or come in for an extra shift? Of course not. But that job taught me that my time and having relationships is more valuable than, money in the bank. And then I got a telemarketing job, pre-qualifying people for refinancing their mortgages. And that taught me endurance, because they have the same script to follow all day long, 8 hours a day, and you have to deal with people yelling at you and calling you names, cussing you out. And I did that for 3 weeks. And I did that job up until I decided that I was coming back to Michigan. I didn't want my last couple weeks in San Diego to be spent going to an office job that I hated. So that's what happened with that. And now I'm here. And I go back to my previous place of hire, which is the Alzheimer's and dementia caregiving place that I worked at through college, and came back to after I graduated. And I'm going to start going to work next week. When I first made the decision to come back to Michigan, I was distraught. I was hysterical because I want so badly to live in a Jewish community and be able to practice halakha and finish my gyur. I'm 26 years old. I have to take prerequisites for a nursing program. And then almost every university has a wait list for the nursing program. So it's going to take me a while to finish school, to start school, and then get my RN, my associates. I can't afford to go to school and work for, I can't work full-time and go to school full-time. I can't do it. And hardly anybody is able to, no matter where you live, work part-time and live on their own. So I'm going to be with my mom and my brothers and Patrick for a while, as I foresee it. That means I won't be living in a Jewish community. That means I won't be able to finish my gyur for a long time. Unless something changes and I transfer schools. But again, I wouldn't be able to live on my own anywhere. We'll say that it takes 4 years. That's either being generous or not being generous, depending on when I start. By the time I get my RN, well, let's just say I'm 30. How many, what are my chances and odds of finding the right kind of guy for me who's not a Kollel guy? Nothing against Kollel guys. There are, the few and far between who are meant to be Torah scholars and be chachamim. But I'm not keen on the idea of a guy who, and there's nothing wrong with learning. We all should be learning every day. But in a ketubah, like, a man is supposed to provide. And I'm not saying I need someone to provide for me and my needs. I'm saying that you're not, according to ketubah, you're not holding up your end of the bargain in a marriage, in a halakhic Jewish marriage. And I know many wives who want their husbands to be in kollel. Fine, that's great. That's not what I want. I want somebody who has a job. I don't come from a rich family. I don't come from a halakhically Jewish family. And I don't necessarily want to marry into money either. There's nothing wrong with money. I want to work. I want to have a job. And I want to be a nurse. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. Like, I'll be 30, and in many Orthodox, even modern Orthodox communities, in traditional Conservadox or Reconstructionist, whatever, I'm Sephardic. That's considered old. And that doesn't, like, worry me so much, but it is something to think about. And I made the decision to come back to Michigan knowing that I wanted to pursue nursing, knowing that this is going to push off my conversion date, very potentially. And when I was talking to my rabbi, he's like, you can finish gear while you're in school. You can get married while you're going to school. I could. But when am I going to have the time if I have a full-time job to take the time off of work for the holidays and to date? Like, there's not much around here in Michigan. Yeah, Detroit, Royal Oak, Southfield, West Bloomfield. Like, it's great. Now I'm rambling. And this video is supposed to just be about, like, hey, I'm coming back in Michigan and this is why. But whenever you decide to make, like, changes in your life, like drastic changes, you really need to understand that even though you might be doing something good for yourself, when you choose one thing, you're essentially not choosing something else. So you have to be confident in your choices, and I'm learning to be confident with mine. Like, I know in my head that this was the right decision. It doesn't make it any easier. So I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the travel delay videos, and this one as well. Again, Shana Tova. Thank you for watching. Leave your questions, comments, criticism, and concerns down below. Take care. Espero que Dios te bendiga. Shalom. Hasta la próxima.